So I figured it's winter. Everybody's kind of gets a little depressed. I have heard that winter is not
Mhm.
actually that bad with suicide. It's more summer, but I still figured this would be a good time because I know there's winter depression, so maybe there's the aftermath of winter depression, or someone said something about what is it? Because like winter you can be to yourself and you don't have to worry about, people some people don't have to worry about the rest of the world. They're okay. But the minute like the door
Right.
opens and then they can feel like judgment because they're around other people again, that
Mhm.
affects them because according to numbers, summer is more like they don't really understand the definition or why, but they said like number is more common for suicide. And
I think in some cases that's true. I think with the depression in the winter is because you're isolated. You're not going to as many places. It might be cold, or you might be snowed in, or you might, and you know me, John, how it is right now outside. I don't like it.
yeah,
I don't
no,
like when the sun is not out. So I
no,
guess
yeah,
it would differentiate between those types of personalities, whether you have seasonal depression or what season it actually is.
okay, that's understandable because, like I said, it's the numbers and stuff aren't really understood very well on where they come from or anything,
Sure.
as far as I understand. But I was actually going to ask you guys, introduce yourself, and what do you work with?
My name is Shawn Feltz. I work with Speak Out Against Suicide in Camanche, Iowa, is where our headquarters are.
Yep.
I am the outreach coordinator, so I do different hats for different things, but to keep it on the short and sweet, we do supports. We offer supports to those in need, and we also provide resources. And that's our main focus, is provide those resources for people to get them moving to the next step. We also go into schools, organizations, businesses, and do presentations. We're really focusing on that business, getting into those business so employers and employees understand those warning signs and what to do.
Yeah,
So
there's
in a nutshell.
yeah. Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, because I go to some of your support groups, so I know this thing.
Mhm.
I understand you guys. I like you, but I figured I'd let everybody else know, kind of get it going.
Sure, we appreciate
Um,
it.
yeah, no problem, no problem. So with these, you were just talking about work. I plan on doing there's a month coming up here that has to do with employee appreciation, and then I was also
Mhm.
gonna slash it with like hazardous work environment and stuff. And I was
Sure.
wondering, like, what you could tell me about. You just pointed out like you're trying to work with companies more on mental health and stuff with their employees and stuff. And I wondered what you could say about that.
So a little bit about what we'd like to talk about is just being aware of your surroundings and aware of the people that are around you, showing you care. Do you have to like the person? No. Do they have to like you? No. But we hope that we still care about people. So just watching things like maybe somebody's coming to work a little bit later than usual, or maybe they're not as cleaned up as they normally are. Maybe they're looking at the ground. Maybe you know that they've had some sort of crisis in their life. Maybe you know that they've attempted suicide or had a mental health issue at some point in their life. If you don't, that's okay too, but just looking for those significant things that aren't normal and being able to go over and say, hey, I noticed you're wearing 2 left shoes today. Is there something I can do to help support you? So
Yeah.
those types of things.
Cool. Yeah. I know I used to have it. I can't remember what job it was. I remember what job. But I would go there and I'd have like almost like an argument with myself before I went into work. Like, should I do this? Really, should I do this? And it was like, but nobody at work really understood it. They didn't realize because I'd go in there like I was camouflaged completely
Mask.
on just like a smile. Once I went through the door, it was like a smile on the face and stuff. And I tried to make it so no one knew I was very uncomfortable with the job.
Right.
Like it was, I thought it was too stressful and stuff, and no one knew it
Well,
was
and
too uncomfortable.
you don't want to let your employer down, even though, I think a lot of times employers with their employees they give up, or they think, okay, they're not performing at what I need them to do, so they let them go. When if they would have just asked, hey, I've noticed this, or this, what's going on, or how can we help support you, that maybe they would keep those very good employees that maybe they let go.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's been a couple of situations I've dealt with where, yeah, I've noticed like there's people, and like maybe I talk to them and stuff, like I could tell something, but the manager doesn't notice it,
Right.
or, they don't get a hint of it, or they don't understand it yet. So I can
Right.
understand why they need to talk.
Well, most of the people that you're closest to, you don't want them to know you're troubled.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
me as a stranger, but I work, 3 stations down from somebody, to notice, that's huge. So just getting people to be aware,
Yep. Yep. That's awesome. Yeah. I
Mhm.
understand like when they don't let people they know what's going on. I'm very good at that. And I know a couple of people that were good at that in the previous life.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I know you guys do events and stuff. Last one was in September, correct?
We did on September 25th, we had our Breaking the Silence Suicide Awareness Walk.
Yeah, because September is the Suicide Awareness Month.
Yep, suicide awareness. We also, while we were doing September, we were also doing a purple light bulb, campaigns, getting people to put purple light bulbs in for that month. And
Nice.
it kind of worked out well going into Halloween, because purple and bats and orange and they all go together. But our walk,
Yeah.
drew in quite a few people. I don't have numbers yet back. Our board doesn't meet till next week, but I know that we did it at the Lumber King Stadium this year because we couldn't do it in Camanche, and it was our 10-year anniversary. So we couldn't do it in Camanche because of the construction, and we wanted to make sure, that we're providing the most safety for our folks that are going to participate. So we had it at the Lumber Kings, ended up being very well, turnout. So we're happy with it so far. We're excited to see what those numbers are.
Nice. That sounds great. Yeah.
And also those proceeds from that walk will go to Speak Out Against Suicide, providing scholarships to those high school students moving forward in the mental health field. So that's specifically what our walk was for this year.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So people going towards mental health careers.
Correct.
With scholarships. Awesome. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that. Thank you.
Yep. Yep.
So what's your next event or anything you got going on coming up here?
Oh, next event, we have our gala that will be coming up April 22nd.
Oh, okay.
I know that those tickets sell out very quickly. Last year, I think we sold out within an hour.
Oh, geez.
So,
nice.
Yeah, so as soon as we know those opening dates or when we're going to put that out there for people to get tickets, that will be on our Facebook page. So I suggest that you be ready.
Ready for that.
Not quite sure yet what we're going to have. We're calling it a black tie event. However, if you aren't comfortable dressing up, and wearing those formal attire, it's perfectly fine. Of course, we're going to support you, whatever it is that you choose to wear. Also, just trying to dig into even more irons in the fire. So we're not real sure how it's going to go, but we know the date, and we know it will still be at the Wild Rose Casino.
Oh, nice.
So we know those 2 things for sure, and hopefully more to come on our Facebook page as well.
Awesome. Well, I'll make sure I link that to this so that way people can go to that and get with that. Sounds awesome. So what time are the support groups and stuff if someone wanted to go to it?
Right now we weren't having well-attended survivor of suicide or survivor of suicide loss. So we're kind of keeping that as if you need somebody to support you in that, you let me know and we'll figure out a time to do it. As we're getting out there a little bit more, we'll probably re-offer Not sure again how that's going to go. We'll discuss that at the board meeting soon, I'm sure. We also offer a sharing the pain group that meets on Wednesday night, and it's for loss of a child. So, and it not per se to suicide for any reason, loss of a child. We
Yeah.
are working on a grieving group for a spouse. If you've lost a spouse. And then we also are looking at someone to facilitate a postpartum group. So that might be new and exciting news come up. I also support with a support group up at Hightower, which is a halfway house for women with addictions. So I go up there every other Thursday and sit with those folks, and we do lots of fun stuff. I learned some really crazy things, but I love it. I love it. I love seeing their progress. So that being said, right now, those are kind of the things that we're focused on. I would love to get those survivor of suicide and survivor of suicide loss groups bumped up some more. It's just getting people in the door. I think, you know, they get a little nervous, or, you know, it's hard. It's not easy to talk about those things.
No, it's not. It's a very touchy subject. I know that personally.
Mm-hmm.
I know that personally. Yeah, that's great. I had a thought for a second, then my mind
I'm
did.
sorry.
No, not your fault at all. Not your fault at all. I started talking and then all I know is I was gonna say, like, as a peer support, I remember getting into some of those, like you were talking about Hightower. I led some of groups like that where we talked about all kinds of different subjects, and it was amazing what people would come up with, and some of
Yes.
their topics on their recovery or their history and stuff, and their coping skills and all kinds of stuff. It was amazing.
Well, it's just, it's crazy just to see, like, when I go, I always bring some kind of a snack, and we do some kind of activity, whether it's an art thing or whether it's a topic. So I had one on the radio, Grandma's Goodie Jar gift certificate. So I decided I'm going to use this gift certificate and pay it forward, and I'll take it up to these girls and I'll get them truffles. So I had $25 worth of truffles, and it was surprising that half of those girls didn't even know what a truffle was. Never had one in their life. So it was powerful knowing that, wow, they got to experience that, you know, that thing that I would never think that anybody didn't know about, you know, but it was cool. It was really cool.
Okay, so I'm gonna fit in that group of the people that didn't know. What is a truffle?
So a truffle is like it's a little ball, and it's filled in with this, I can't even describe it, but there's different flavors. There's like mint, caramel.
Yeah,
they're
one of those
tiny, like
little ball that's
balls,
filled
but
up
they're
with like
just
chocolate or
yeah, and you
caramel and all that stuff.
You crunch through that outer chocolate, and it's like your mouth.
Yeah, no, I know. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. They sell some of those right at the countertop, right next to the registers at Randy's in DeWitt, Iowa.
There you go.
And
yeah,
they're like a few cents or something. I get
you
those.
only need one because they're so rich.
Yeah, you don't need one. They're so rich with sugar and all that stuff.
Yes.
But I love them. They're great, and they do a lot of special ones around the holidays, obviously.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. But they didn't. I mean, some of them didn't. So, you know, now they got to experience something they may have never gotten to do.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Cool. So your business, or this is a nonprofit, correctly? You guys are so like you guys go by donation and stuff, or like?
Right now we're going by private donation. Would we like to get grants? Absolutely. We were just trying to figure out, you know, what projects those grants would go for. We've got a couple out there that, you know, I really don't know where they're at in that process, but like I said, this last 10 years has been based on private donations only.
Wow,
which is amazing. Yeah,
that is amazing that you go 10 years with just private donations. That's good that you have such support.
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome. So with you talked about support groups and stuff about the deceased people that lost loved ones with suicide.
Mhm.
Can you kind of explain some of that kind of stuff? I know I experienced that personally, but like some
So
people might not understand that too well.
I think with survivors of suicide loss, it's always with you. So that's something that people describe. It never goes away. It's how you're utilizing the coping skills to go alongside it, because I think you kind of go through, when you're going through the 5 processes of grief, you're kind of doing that same thing, except for it's like amped up. That's the only way I can explain it.
Oh no, yeah, no,
So,
I understand that.
you know, for me, I have a couple of friends who have lost loved ones, and I just, some of them are ready to talk about it. Some of them are not ready to talk about it. That's why I think we kind of have low numbers, because we never know what that timeline is. Some people need to talk about it right away. Some people don't talk about it for 20 years, or I know I was at a organization, it was a Lions Club organization in Western Illinois, and I had an old farmer come up to me and told me his story. And he hadn't told anyone about that for 50 years. So
That's
just
amazing.
just the fact that he talked to me, and after he got done, he said he felt so much better just getting it out. So imagine you pushing down and pushing down and pushing down and pushing down. So everything else around you is now affecting you, because you have this thing pushed down to your toes, and you need to talk about it, but you don't know how to talk about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's kind of the thing that we want to know, that we are here to listen, and we are here to give a resource or two if you're needing that. So that's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, I know when I went to the support, when I first, my brother first passed away, there was a few people I could talk to, but like it took a while before I was able to like open up to a lot of people about certain things.
Mhm.
And actually going to a group, I remember going to a group of people I didn't know was much easier to talk to about or even let out emotions about than it
Mhm.
was to go to a group of people I did know.
Right.
Like it was really hard for me because I'd hold back those feelings or the grieving feelings and stuff. Like the floodgate would not open because of
Well, and I
people
think
knowing me.
you find that, like, when I'm speaking, or when I'm at an event, or how many people come up to you and tell me a story, just out there, like they feel comfortable enough to come up and say, hey, I had a cousin who took his life however many years ago, and I still think about it all the time, and and then I will tell them, well, you just need to, let us know if you need to talk, or if you need some resources to help you to deal with that, whether it's seeing a therapist, or whether it's going out for peer support, or whatever it might be. So it's just, again, it goes back to just being able to listen and being able to care about each other, whether you
Yeah,
know them or not.
yeah. Well, I mean, like before my brother had done what he did, I didn't really know it was that much out there. I didn't really know
Mhm.
it until now. Like it's almost like like someone will talk about it or something. Maybe I've had strangers do it too before me. When I was
Mhm.
working as a peer support and stuff like that, like they came for support, I'd help them. But
Sure.
after my brother had done it, it came more noticeable to me that how many people actually experience that event compared to like, I've noticed a couple events because of things happening in my life that are more common than you would actually think.
Right.
Like
Oh,
more people
if
get
I would,
affected by it than you think.
oh gosh, yes. Because if you think about it, you have, and I'll say, the younger generation, they have their Snapchat, their TikTok, your Facebook, so all of those people that you're connected with, and you have a crisis happen to you or someone near to you, all of those people are affected. So then those people have their people that you don't have, and those people. So it's just like this ongoing trickle of people.
Oh,
So I
ripple
always try
effect.
to, yes, try to look at it as if everybody that's raised their hand when I've asked, has anybody ever been affected by suicide in any way? And put all of those tennis shoes in a room.
Wow.
I'm going to guarantee you we don't have a parking lot big enough for all of those tennis shoes, if that makes any sense at all.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. Like,
so we
no.
don't know. Like, I've had close friends experience with losing a father and a son within the same 9 months.
Yeah.
So you live in a small town, but so everybody knows that it happened.
And
And those, yes,
it's amazing how that is. And like, with this, me noticing it more, like I didn't realize until the support group that I had a person who lived close to me that experienced that, or like just, and then there's so many people around me that, like friends and stuff, that all of a sudden they're affected by it because of a family member or friend. And I'm like, that's what I know. It's just like all of a sudden it's clicking now that like, wow, this is more around me than I ever thought.
Well, I think
never really noticed it.
Mental health in general is getting a lot easier to talk about. You know, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Yes, it's great we're talking, but it's like, wow, we're talking. Whoa, you know, all of this stuff. So I think, you know, coming to terms with being able to know that I could in turn give you a call, John, and say, hey, I just need to talk today, and know that you're receptive to that, or you know, you could be able to help me out. That's why we said, you know, we keep our friends, and we have our friends, but they're always not the easiest to talk about that stuff with.
Well, yeah, because sometimes I know personally, you feel like they know you in a certain way and you don't want them to think of you different. Like you like how they think of you, or the way they, you know, treat you because of what you act around them or how you are around them. And then when you want to open up, or like something happens and stuff, you don't want to let them know because you feel that will change their attitude or opinion of you.
Right. You don't want to be vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. Keep the
strength.
keep the wall up and stuff.
Yeah, it takes strength to be vulnerable. We know that.
Yeah.
It takes that bravery and that strength to come forward to be able to talk about those things, and to realize that you need to talk about those things.
Yeah, that's more important. It is important to talk about it to, like you even said, to strangers, like that farmer, you know.
Well, and that's another one of the things we work on with our presentations in the school, or presentations in businesses or organizations, is we're going around, and of course I haven't gotten to everybody I need to get to, but wanting to show 5-minute videos and asking about 6 questions to each of those people about their loss, or if it was them in general, that could be one too. But just to know, like, what is a grandson and a grandmother taking her life like? What is, you know, a young girl losing her father, or a father losing a son, or a mother versus a mother losing a son, all the different scenarios that are out there. So trying to do all of these 5-minute videos to have just to be able to maybe understand it. We're never going to understand it, but maybe we can understand it this much better.
Just enough that it's a little bit healing.
And to know you're not alone. To know you're not alone.
Oh, 100% on that. It's very helpful for a lot of subjects that have to do with mental health, to know you're not alone. Like the minute you know you're not the only one, you don't feel so isolated. You feel like, wow, this is kind of amazing. There's people that can relate, or like that know, you know, they understand maybe.
Right. And we're our own worst enemy, because we know our own self-talk to each other. You know, I haven't been into work. I wonder if they think I'm not doing anything, or I wonder if I think, you know, do they know I'm doing all of this hard work, or do they think I'm just sitting over here picking my nose? What is somebody else? So that's you doing it.
Yeah, self-judgment.
Nobody said that to you. You know, it's crazy what your mind will start playing in your head.
Yes, people, well, I mean, I personally know it too myself, with the self-judgment, where like no one says anything to you. No one like even points out they're judging you for, there's no one doing anything that should be like you feel judgment, but you personally, with your own judgment of yourself, think they're doing it or something, or like just the littlest thing makes you think, oh, are they judging me, or is this how they think of me? And it's like, you don't need to, like, that's, yeah. And
Right.
mental health does that. Mental health does that.
Yes, it does.
It affects that. I am happy that, like, things with mental health, like you said, are becoming more, not common, but more open about, like, being to talk to, more open to be
Yes.
talked about and stuff. Like, as a
Mhm.
peer support specialist, I was happy that, like, I could talk about it, and it did help that there were other people like me. And then I really liked the idea that I could help people with my experience on that. So
Exactly.
and I like how there's a lot of because of peer support and some of the stuff I've learned of more of the how it is in the world, actually, like how open it is compared to when I was a kid. Like, because I
Well,
know when I was younger, that was like, you would never talk about this
no,
stuff. Never.
brush it under the rug and you suck it up and you move on, which
Oh yeah, you were always, if you had any of these kind of thoughts of, like, you thought you had mental health or anything like that, like, it immediately came to self-judgment and fear of what people would think of you.
mhm,
Because back then the stereotypes were out there, so they're still around, but
sure they
you
are.
know, you had a whole thing, like, you might have been around people that you even did it to until it happened to you. Like, you might have
Right.
said this and stuff about people in your small group of friends or
And
something.
then you catch yourself going, why did I just say that? I
Yeah,
should.
then all of a sudden you're the person that you would have been made fun of, and then you're like,
Right.
then you
Well, and
get
I
kind of,
think too, with today's youth, their social media, they don't get a break. When you were bullied in school, back when I was in school, you got bullied, you went home and at least you were away from it for a little bit.
yeah, yeah, you didn't have
Now,
you didn't, like,
now you
I
don't
remember
get.
being an old man now. Being an old man, I'm gonna joke about that. But
Mhm.
I do remember in school we didn't have social media, we didn't have texting, any of that stuff. So, like, when you came home from school, there was no bully. Especially, like, if you were out here in the, like, Iowa. So, like, you had the big city, like, where I used to go, and then you have all the little towns, and that's where I
Right.
lived. So, like, you didn't have it where that guy that lived in the big city who bullied you even came out to your town to bother you. So, like, the
Right.
minute you left that area, the minute you went home from school,
You
you were
could breathe.
free. You could breathe. You didn't have to worry about that. There was no worrying about it. It was a complete relief. But now with social media and, like, the ability to text whenever you want, and even with these providers that make it so people can text on the internet, you have to have Wi-Fi to text, but they can text and they can use random numbers. You can't even identify them.
Right.
They can bully you and all this stuff without you really even noticing. And then those providers are a little hard to get to, like, so they'll release who the hell's using the number and stuff, like, with the
Right.
police and stuff. If you want to report them judging you and threatening you and all this stuff, it's a little harder with police now because these companies don't want to release that. So it's
Right.
much different compared to when I was young.
Oh
And
yeah.
you're correct, like, it's much easier. Even when they go home, they can be judged immediately from all social medias and all kinds of stuff.
Well, you get in a fight with your friend because whatever, they forgot to wear the same shirt as you that day. So you get in an argument about it. When you get home, you get home. You don't have it still in front of your face and going on and then dragging how many other people into a situation where it was just the two of you and now it's 20 people. So I
Yeah.
don't know how they do it, and then of course with COVID not being in school, so that's all they have is,
Yeah, they
the
didn't even get a
so
view, or
yeah,
yeah.
so we're throwing them back into school and now they're kind of, it's like, well, we were at home all this time, why would it be, so it's just it's a lot. I couldn't imagine being a teenager right now. I know that.
Neither could I. I mean, it'd be completely different environment.
For
I
sure.
mean, I don't know if my sister-in-law would be happy with it, but, like, if I ever hear my nephew say anything about bullies towards him or something, oh, I'm gonna try and teach him how to be adult. Because I'm pretty sure, just in my opinion, maybe this is the old days, but I know if I had the same attitude and sarcasm and all this stuff as I do as an adult, because I know stuff now compared to when I was a kid, And I
Right.
just used that against the bullies and stuff back in high school. That would be complete different situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because instead of them making fun of me, guess who gets slammed, or all that stuff. And my little
Right.
nephew, I don't want him to experience any of that.
Right.
Thankfully, right now, my sister-in-law has him going to a great private school. It's one of the new,
Nice.
it's a charter school or something. I don't know, but it seems to be unbelievably great compared to some of the other stuff that they provide. It's not that public schools are bad. It's just,
Well, and I just think that just, making them aware of at these younger ages, I mean, we're starting with, suicidal thoughts and things at the age of 10 and 11 years old.
yeah,
That's
that's
way, way, way too young.
oh yeah, that's scary that it's so young for that to happen,
Yeah.
to that become in
So,
mind.
we want to still believe that the old number of 14 was the start, but it's not. It's dropped. So,
Yeah, no, don't you wish it was not until
yeah.
you were like middle school or high school or something, and now
Well,
it's
and
even
so
before then.
our focus is mostly on the middle school and high school spectrum, but of course, we try to get into the schools if we can, and we'll read volunteers. We have volunteers on our board that like to read books. So we do about friendship, bullying, how to be a good friend. What do you need to do to be a good friend, and those types of things, and trying to hit them early on as we can, and that's the same with substance abuse and all those types of things. When you have, some of the numbers that I've received from the Area Substance Abuse Council on kids, again, we're talking 11 and 12 that have tried vaping, that have tried marijuana, that have tried, drinking, their
Oh
parents
yeah,
able to
yeah.
keep
Some of that
that
stuff
distance.
starts
So
way earlier than you think. But
So,
I mean,
and
even when I was
those all are some of the causes for mental health. So, we've got to keep these kids away from that stuff too. But just knowing that if we can still be out there as a safe place for somebody to go, parents, be more aware, if you're not going to be more aware of your own kids, who do your kids have over? Who are their friends? Who's on their phone? What are they doing on their phone? Where are they going? When are they going to be home? The old thing where your mom would say, okay, where are you going? What time are you going to be home? And then she would call the place to make sure you were there.
yeah,
So
I remember
it's those
that.
types of
I
things.
remember that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I also remember like we had more, I personally say some freedom, more like summertime and stuff, because parents had to work and all this stuff. Maybe you had a babysitter, but
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't think we
we're just
were.
growing up much faster than we used to.
Yeah, and that's amazing because I know nowadays they do more sports and stuff and all this stuff way earlier than we ever did, and they
Oh
do
yeah.
so many all at once compared to what we did as kids.
Yeah.
Back then
Well,
we had it like,
they're on club ball and regular school ball, so every weekend is tied up with, playing.
yeah, or like they
I
got
sometimes
soccer
think,
and
gosh, when do
band.
they get time to be a kid? When do they get
Yeah,
time
like
to
that's what
dig
I
the
always
dirt?
say.
But that's what they want to do.
Stuff way earlier than we ever did, and they
Oh
do
yeah.
so many all at once compared to what we did as kids.
Yeah.
Back then
Well,
we had it like,
they're on club ball and regular school ball, so every weekend is tied up with, playing.
yeah, or like they
I
got
sometimes
soccer
think,
and
gosh, when do
band.
they get time to be a kid? When do they get
Yeah,
time
like
to
that's what
dig
I
the
always
dirt?
say.
But that's what they want to do.
Yep.
That's what they want to do. So
Yeah. We're coming to a 3-minute end here, so I was
all right.
gonna shut down this talk